You know, we have this image of the solitary genius, right? The lone artist or inventor, toiling away in isolation to create something amazing. But what if that's mostly a myth? Today, we're going to talk about something way more powerful, the incredible magic of collaboration and how a whole chorus of voices can create something bigger and better than any one person ever could. So this whole idea kicks off with a story from an architect. Back when he was a student, he was, let's just say, pretty full of himself. He really saw himself as the singular creative force, the one who dreamed up these masterpieces all on his own. But, as you can imagine, the second he stepped into the professional world, boy did reality have other plans. And that clash with reality, it led to some serious frustration. For him, having to work with a team didn't feel like a good thing. It felt like a hit to his ego, a threat to his whole identity as the captain of his own creative ship. I mean, the thing is, that whole lone genius idea just falls apart in architecture. A building isn't just a pretty sketch, it's a full-blown symphony. You need an entire orchestra of specialists. Civil engineers making sure it works with the land, structural engineers making sure it doesn't fall down, landscape architects, surveyors. Not to mention the MEP experts handling all the guts of the building, the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. Without every single one of them, the grand vision just stays stuck on paper. But then, something clicked. This was the big aha moment. He stopped looking at his team as obstacles to his genius and started seeing them as, well, people. He had this profound realization that every single person on his team, just like him, wanted to be seen. They wanted their work to matter, to be valued, to be recognized. And he knew if he couldn't give them that, he'd be the one losing out in the end. And here's the cool part. This isn't just some modern-day management insight. This idea actually echoes all the way back through human history, telling a much, much bigger story about how true genius often comes from the group. For centuries, our greatest achievements have almost always been the work of many hands. I mean, think about it. Those incredible Gothic cathedrals, they weren't built by one-star architect. They were raised by armies of anonymous stonemasons and craftsmen. Or look at the birth of jazz. The brilliance of Louis Armstrong wasn't just him. It was his ensembles, creating magic on the fly through shared, improvised genius. The power of the group is not new. It's totally fundamental to who we are. And hey, let's take one of the most famous works of art ever, attributed to one guy, Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper. Guess what? Even that wasn't a solo gig. It was born in his workshop, a beautiful tapestry woven together by the master and his apprentices, with all their skills and ideas blending into one breathtaking piece.
Okay, but we have to make a really important distinction here, because not all group work is the same. When collaboration gets twisted into forced unity, what you get isn't harmony, it's something ugly, discordant, and frankly, destructive.
So let's break this down because it's critical. True collaboration, that's about a shared vision where every person's contribution is seen and valued. That's where you get real creative synergy. But forced collectivism, that's the total opposite. It's a top-down command that completely erases your identity. It's not about shared passion, it's about fear and just doing what you're told. And the results of that are absolutely catastrophic. In the Soviet Union, Stalin's policy of collectivization, forcing millions of people into a system that stripped them of their land, their property, their very identity, it led to mass famine and dissent. The human cost? An estimated 20 million people. And we saw a similar horrifying tragedy unfold in China during the Great Leap Forward. Again, it was this idea of state-imposed unity meant to rapidly industrialize the country. But instead, it just crushed the human spirit, leading to one of the deadliest famines in all of history. The estimates are just staggering, anywhere from 15 to 45 million lives lost.
The lesson from these incredibly dark chapters in our history is crystal clear. When you take away personal meaning, when you refuse to recognize individual worth, it is not collaboration anymore. It's a yoke. Real synergy, the kind that builds amazing things, it can only happen in a place where every single voice is heard and valued.
So if forcing people together is a disaster, what's the answer? What's the secret sauce that turns a bunch of individuals into a creative juggernaut? Well, it all comes down to the alchemy of recognition. Let's go back to our architect for a second. He tells this great story about a project where a teammate made a simple suggestion about the color palette, and it totally transformed his design for the better. He didn't see it as a criticism. He saw it as a gift that made his vision even stronger. That right there, that's the alchemy in action. It's turning a solitary ego into a shared victory. And listen, this isn't just some feel-good story. There's real data to back this up. Research from the Journal of Creative Collaboration shows that a whopping 65% of breakthrough ideas come from groups where different perspectives aren't just put up with, but are actively sought out and acknowledged. It's simple. When people feel seen, they do their best work.
You want to see a perfect example? Just look at the masterpieces of European car design. A Ferrari, a Maserati, that's not the product of one person's vision. It's born from this incredible harmony of countless specialists. You've got the designers, the engineers, the operators on the shop floor, the painters, the upholsterers. Every single contribution is unique and celebrated, and it all comes together to create this one, final, beautiful symphony on wheels.
So where does all this leave us? Well, it gives us a completely new and, I think, much more powerful way to think about creativity itself. It's not about the soloist anymore. It's all about the symphony.
If you take one thing away from this, let it be this: creativity is an echo. Sure, a single voice can be beautiful, but the richest, most beautiful sound, that incredible resonance, is born when all of our individual sparks get to dance freely with a shared collective goal. It's all about finding that perfect, beautiful balance.
And that brings us to the final question, one for you to think about in your own life and your own work. It doesn't matter if you're an artist, an engineer, a parent, or a leader of a team. How do you do it? How do you balance your own unique individual spark with the collective dreams of the people you share your world with? Because when we find the answer to that, we don't just create better things, we compose a masterpiece with a soul.